Imagine reaching into a jar of old coins, pulling out a penny that looks completely ordinary, and discovering that it could be worth more than $2.2 million. It sounds impossible. Most people walk past pennies every day. They leave them in cup holders, toss them into drawers, and forget about them for years. But what if one of those forgotten coins held a life-changing secret? What if a single 1964 D Lincoln penny hiding in plain sight was worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a fleet of sports cars? Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories in American coin collecting. A story filled with mystery, hidden details, collector obsession, and the possibility that incredible value could be hiding inside a coin most people would never look at twice. The year was 1964. America was changing rapidly. The nation was mourning the loss of President John F. Kennedy. The Civil Rights Act was making history. The economy was expanding. Millions of Americans carried Lincoln cents in their pockets every single day without realizing that some of these coins would one day become the focus of intense collector attention. The Denver Mint was working around the clock. Billions of coins were being produced to meet demand. Among them were countless 1964 pennies carrying the small D mint mark beneath the date. Most were ordinary circulation coins. Most are still worth only a few cents today. But not all of them. Some collectors began noticing unusual examples. Pennies with extraordinary strikes. Pennies showing rare minting abnormalities. Pennies preserved in astonishing condition. Over time, stories emerged of collectors paying huge sums for the finest known examples. The hunt was on. Imagine being the person who discovers one. A penny sitting unnoticed in a coffee can for decades. A penny inherited from a parent or grandparent. A penny mixed among thousands of others. Then one day, under careful examination, something catches your eye. The date. The mint mark. The color. The strike. The condition. Suddenly, what looked like a common coin becomes something entirely different. Before we go further, it's important to understand why collectors become so passionate about certain Lincoln cents. Coin collecting isn't just about age. Millions of old coins exist. Value comes from rarity, condition, demand, and unusual characteristics. When those factors combine, astonishing prices can result. Now let's talk about identification because this is where many treasure hunters make mistakes. First, look at the date. It must read 1964. Next, check below the date for the mint mark. A genuine Denver Mint coin will have a small D beneath the year. If there's no D, you're looking at a Philadelphia issue instead. Once you've confirmed the date and mint mark, examine the overall appearance. Collectors prize examples with strong details in Lincoln's hair, sharp lettering, and clean surfaces. Weakly struck coins generally attract less attention than sharply struck examples. But here's where things become exciting. Some 1964 D pennies display unusual mint errors. These errors occurred during the manufacturing process. They were never intended to happen, yet they escaped into circulation. Such mistakes can dramatically increase value depending on their rarity and visibility. Look carefully for doubling in the lettering and date. Examine the words Liberty and I in God We Trust. Use magnification if possible. Genuine doubling can create a distinctive appearance that experienced collectors recognize immediately. Pay attention to off-center strikes. If the design appears shifted, leaving part of the blank planchette visible, the coin could be much more desirable than a standard issue. Now imagine finding one of these unusual pieces while searching through a box of old pennies purchased at a flea market. That's exactly why collectors never stop looking. Every roll opened brings a new possibility. Every inherited collection could contain a hidden surprise. Every forgotten coin jar represents a chance. And that's what makes this hobby so addictive. No one knows where the next discovery will appear. Picture a retired collector spending a rainy afternoon sorting through old coins gathered over decades. One by one, the pennies pass beneath a magnifying glass. Most are ordinary. Then suddenly, one stands out. The color is brilliant. The strike is razor sharp. The details look almost untouched. A closer inspection reveals features that separate it from the rest. That moment of discovery is what every collector dreams about. The possibility of finding something extraordinary where everyone else saw something ordinary. As years passed, demand for high-grade Lincoln cents continued to grow. Registry collectors compete. Condition became everything. A penny that circulated heavily for years might be worth only a modest amount. But a coin preserved in exceptional condition can enter an entirely different universe of value. Collectors use grading scales to measure preservation. Tiny differences can mean the difference between a common coin and a remarkable one. This is why you should never clean an old coin. Many people make this mistake. They believe polishing a coin improves its value. In reality, cleaning often damages original surfaces and reduces collector interest. If you discover a promising 1964D Lincoln penny, leave it exactly as it is. Handle it carefully by the edges. Store it safely. Consider professional evaluation if it appears unusual or exceptionally well preserved. Now let's pause for a moment and think about the odds. Most people never inspect them closely. Most people spend them without a second thought. Yet history has shown repeatedly that valuable coins continue to emerge from circulation, estate sales, inherited collections, and forgotten containers tucked away in basements and attics. That's what keeps collectors searching. Not certainty. Possibility. The possibility that a hidden treasure has survived unnoticed for decades. The possibility that someone overlooked an important detail. The possibility that a coin worth incredible money is waiting to be discovered. And sometimes those possibilities become reality. Imagine calling a professional coin expert after finding an unusual 1964D penny. You expect a routine answer. Instead, the expert becomes interested immediately. Questions follow. Photographs are requested. Examination appointments are scheduled. Suddenly, what began as a casual search becomes something much bigger. Your heart races. Your curiosity grows. You start imagining what the coin could be worth. Those questions have fueled collector excitement for generations. The Lincoln Cent series remains one of the most collected coin series in American history. Its accessibility makes it unique. Unlike rare gold coins that many people never encounter, Lincoln Cents can still appear in everyday places. That accessibility keeps the dream alive. A dream shared by collectors across America. A dream that the next great discovery could happen tomorrow. A dream that extraordinary value can hide inside ordinary objects. And when stories circulate about coins reaching astonishing values, interest explodes. Suddenly people begin checking jars, boxes, piggy banks, and inherited collections. They look at dates they ignored before. They examine mint marks they never noticed. Some find nothing. Some find interesting pieces. And a lucky few uncover genuine treasures. That's why knowledge matters. The more you know, the better your chances of recognizing something important before it slips away. Remember the key identifiers. Look for the 1964 date. Look for the D-mint mark beneath the date. Examine the strike quality. Inspect the lettering carefully. Search for doubling. Look for unusual mint errors. Check overall condition. Avoid cleaning the coin. Store potential finds safely. These simple steps can help separate ordinary pennies from coins deserving closer attention. And perhaps most importantly, stay curious. Because curiosity is often where remarkable discoveries begin. A collector who pays attention notices details others miss. A collector who learns continuously sees opportunities others overlook. A collector who keeps searching eventually finds things that surprise even experienced experts. The next time you receive change at a store, think about the journey each coin has taken. Some have traveled across the country. Some have passed through thousands of hands. Some have survived generations. And somewhere among countless ordinary coins, there may be one extraordinary survivor waiting for the right person to notice it. Maybe it's in an old coin album. Maybe it's inside a family collection. Maybe it's resting quietly in a forgotten jar. Or maybe it's already in your possession, hidden among dozens of pennies you haven't examined yet. That possibility is what makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It's a treasure hunt connected directly to history. A search that rewards patience, knowledge, and attention to detail. And every so often, that search produces a discovery that changes everything. A single coin. A single moment. A single realization. The realization that something worth millions was hiding in plain sight all along. Stories like these continue to inspire collectors because they remind us that remarkable opportunities sometimes arrive in the most unexpected forms. They remind us that extraordinary value can exist where nobody thinks to look. They remind us that even the smallest objects can hold enormous significance. And perhaps somewhere tonight, as people sort through old collections and forgotten jars, another hidden treasure is waiting to be found. Maybe the treasure is a rare 1964 D Lincoln penny. Maybe it's worth thousands. Maybe it's worth far more. Maybe it's the discovery every collector dreams about. After all, million-dollar discoveries often begin with a coin nobody noticed. And sometimes the difference between an ordinary penny and a life-changing one is simply knowing what to look for. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine reaching into a dusty jar of old coins, pulling out a penny you have ignored for years, and discovering that it could be worth an astonishing $2.3 million. It sounds impossible. Most people walk past pennies every day without giving them a second glance. They get tossed into cups, forgotten in drawers, dropped between couch cushions, and left behind in old piggy banks. Yet hidden among millions of ordinary coins is one penny that has captured the attention of collectors across the country. A simple 1965 Lincoln penny with no mint mark may appear completely ordinary at first glance, but under the right circumstances, it could become the kind of discovery that changes a person's life forever. For decades, coin collectors have searched through pocket change hoping to uncover a hidden treasure. Some spend years examining rolls from banks. Others inherit collections from family members and carefully inspect every coin. The reason is simple. History has proven again and again that rare coins can hide in plain sight. The most valuable finds often look almost identical to the coins people spend every day. The story of the 1965 Lincoln penny begins during one of the most important periods in American coin history. The mid-1960s were a time of enormous change for the United States Mint. Coin shortages were affecting the nation. Americans were pulling coins out of circulation and storing them because silver prices were rising. The mint was under tremendous pressure to produce more coins faster than ever before. In response, the mint made several dramatic changes. Collectors at the time noticed something unusual. Mint marks disappeared from coins for several years. The government hoped this would discourage hoarding and speculation. As a result, Lincoln pennies struck in 1965 normally carried no mint mark regardless of where they were produced. At first, this seemed like a simple administrative decision. But over time, collectors began finding unusual examples that stood out from the rest. Certain 1965 pennies displayed characteristics so rare that they sparked excitement throughout the numismatic community. Rumors spread of extraordinary errors, unusual strikes, and coins that somehow escaped quality control. Imagine being the person who discovers one. A penny worth a few cents suddenly becomes the center of attention. Experts examine it. Auction houses compete to sell it. Collectors place bids. The value climbs higher and higher. That possibility keeps people searching. Now here's where things become even more fascinating. Not every 1965 penny without a mint mark is valuable. In fact, most are worth only a small amount. The secret lies in identifying the rare characteristics that separate ordinary examples from potentially life-changing discoveries. The first thing to check is the date. Look carefully at the front of the coin beneath Abraham Lincoln's portrait. You want to see a clear 1965 date. Since mint marks were intentionally removed during this period, finding no mint mark below the date is completely normal. Next, examine the overall condition. Coin collectors use the term grade to describe preservation. A penny that has remained untouched for decades with sharp details, bright original surfaces, and minimal wear can command significantly higher values than heavily circulated examples. But condition alone is only part of the story. The real excitement comes from errors. During the minting process, thousands of things can go wrong. Dies can crack. Planchets can be defective. Machines can become misaligned. These mistakes occasionally create coins unlike any others. One error to watch for is doubling. Look closely at the date, lettering, and Lincoln's features. If certain elements appear doubled rather than sharp and single, you may have found something special. Collectors pay enormous premiums for dramatic doubling because it is both rare and visually striking. Another important feature is die cracks. These appear as raised lines across the surface of the coin. While small cracks are relatively common, major die breaks can dramatically increase collector interest. Then there are wrong planchet errors. These are among the most exciting discoveries in numismatics. Imagine a penny accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination. Such mistakes are incredibly rare. When authenticated, they can bring astonishing prices. This is where attention to detail becomes critical. Many people glance at a coin for only a second before dismissing it. Serious collectors understand that hidden clues often require magnification. A simple magnifying glass can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. Now picture this. An old coffee can sit untouched in a garage for 40 years. Inside are hundreds of pennies accumulated over decades. Most people would see nothing more than spare change. A collector sees opportunity. Coin by coin, the search begins. Minutes turn into hours. Then suddenly, one penny looks different. The strike is unusually sharp. The surfaces appear almost untouched. There is evidence of a significant mint error. The heart starts racing. Stories like this fuel the passion of collectors everywhere. While not every search ends with a jackpot, remarkable discoveries happen more often than many people realize. Throughout American coin collecting history, valuable coins have emerged from estate sales, inherited collections, bankrolls, and forgotten jars. Ordinary people have stumbled upon extraordinary treasures simply because they took the time to look. That is why knowledge matters. The more you understand about rare Lincoln pennies, the better your chances of recognizing something important before someone else does. Inspect the reverse side carefully as well. The Lincoln Memorial should display clear architectural details. Sharp columns and crisp lettering are positive signs. Check for unusual coloration, striking anomalies, and evidence of minting errors. Pay attention to weight if you have access to a precise scale. Error coins struck on the wrong metal often weigh differently than standard examples. These small steps can make a huge difference. Every year, collectors spend thousands of hours examining pennies because they understand a simple truth. Rare coins do not announce themselves. They hide among ordinary coins, waiting for someone observant enough to notice. And that brings us back to the incredible possibility that keeps collectors searching. A coin worth millions may not look dramatically different from a common penny. It may sit unnoticed in a drawer. It may rest inside an old collection. It may pass from one generation to another without anyone realizing its significance. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a fortune often comes down to a tiny detail. A rare error, an unusual strike, exceptional preservation, or a combination of all three. Imagine discovering that a coin you nearly spent at a convenience store was actually worth more than a luxury home. Imagine learning that a single penny could bring $1 million after $1 million in competitive auction bidding. Imagine holding a piece of American history that collectors across the nation desperately want to own. That possibility is what makes coin collecting so exciting. The next time you encounter a 1965 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Study it carefully. Examine every detail. Look for unusual characteristics. Compare it with known examples. If something appears different, consider having it evaluated by a professional coin grading service. Most people will never check. Most people will never know what passed through their hands. But the people who search are the people who find. Somewhere, hidden among countless ordinary pennies, rare treasures still exist. They are waiting in forgotten jars, old albums, family collections, and loose change containers across America. Every day, collectors continue the hunt because they know remarkable discoveries remain possible. And perhaps the next great discovery belongs to someone watching this right now. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.